All right, guys, and we are live for the hashtag 405 half a hundred show. Gavin, Sean, I want to thank y'all for joining me tonight. It's weird. We are 1 week off from the end of the regular season at this point, but I do want to get something off my chest first. I want to get something off my chest, and I know y'all are gonna say it is what it is, but at some point, I really do wish that refs are held accountable end game. I don't know about reprimands anymore because yesterday was just bad. I spoke to Dad. He went to the game with his buddy Don, and he's like they were ready to jump people and run them out of the stadium with how atrocious it was.
Wait. Hang on here. Like, if Toby Rowland can restrain himself and not go full fanboy like Texas Tech did last week.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Look, bad calls happen. I get that. Like, there's
but it's
like
a repeat, though. I always look at it as the first time there's an accident. Sure, that happens every so often. Second time, okay, maybe coincidence. This is a pattern, though. At some point.
Oh, okay. I mean, here. I hate to jump on you, like, but like my whole philosophy.
No, I know I'm on my old man yelling at clouds part. I get
it. It's not even that. It's just the fact that I refuse to let the referees be an excuse outside of, like, I can count on two hands where let me rephrase that. I can count on one hand, and I probably won't even get to five, where I thought the refs actually, in my entire lifetime watching OU football, where I thought the refs screwed us over 2 times.
No, okay.
Ever.
I do want to clarify. I'm not talking about them screwing us over. I'm just saying just bad reffing in general. It's gone downhill.
Okay,
that's not what I mean. I don't mean
but that's a lot. That's everybody though. That's not unique to us. And so I mean, I know it's like, but it's like it's. I guarantee you, every fan base that's worth a damn and still has a dog in the fight is like, name me a fan base that says, you know what, the referees have been great this year. I love every one of them. Like you won't find one. No. So I'm just, it's like. Every fan feels that way, that the refs are against their team, even when calls go their way. I know that first quarter, that it took some mental gymnastics to make the call that it did, but it didn't cost OU the football game. Other things potentially could have cost OU the football game.
Oh, yeah. I won't. There are very few times I will say a ref has cost a game. Oregon is a good example of that. Not to cost.
No, Oregon's one in the year before in Lubbock, where it was just
a phantom touchdown.
It wasn't just the phantom touchdown. There was like multiple calls before that.
Touchdown, but they overturned it, if I remember correctly.
There was a touchdown they gave him in the back corner of the end zone, even though he dropped it, and it was clear that he didn't survive. Like, he didn't even hold on to the ball the whole time. It was just
that
shits up in Lubbock.
Well, if I recall too, it was either that game or it was the Oregon game that caused college football to get the challenges. If I'm correct on that, like it was.
They had instant replay back then, obviously, but it was just
2006. Yeah, but it wasn't caught by the challenges of the coaches. It was done by that, and it was done by an all Pac-10 crew, which I think that all changed and everything after all of that, where basically the visiting team had to basically bring their own.
The Pac-10 was the one. It was the only conference back then that used their own refs for all games, and it was, So, I mean, bowl games always use neutral refs from different conferences.
Yeah.
So you always have to adjust to their style. Every crew has a different style. Some ref crews are just going to let you play. They're going to let pass interference plays go. Some are going to call it almost every time. So it just depends what kind of crew you have. They're all graded. How much you trust the grading system and all that. But yeah, I'm just like, if your team is good enough, if like, I don't like it when certain fan bases like say the ref screwed them. And it was like a call in the first quarter. Like Michigan did that with Michigan State. And it's like, cost us the game. The hell it did. You were up 16 points regardless of the crappy overturn that when the fumble that they ruled it down or whatever. You blew a 16-point lead. I don't want to hear your excuse. Don't tell me about a ref play in the second quarter.
I should probably go ahead, Gavin.
I was going to say, and I was going to put this to another point, though, too. I'm even going back as far as, like, 2015, when they were talking about that targeting call, when it's basically Michigan State's own offensive lineman basically the Michigan player on top of his own quarterback, and they basically called it for a targeting right there.
Oh, see, we could do like an hour and a half on targeting and how awful it's been handled, but
well, I was just saying from the ref, just from a reffing standpoint, that basically it was
that's
like,
a whole book.
Yeah,
right. And speaking of targeting, man, McHouston during that one with Perry on Winfrey was throwing a temper tantrum.
Ooh, Nelly, I'm gonna tell you, I've never seen somebody going down that faster.
I didn't know you were allowed to kill a man in a football game nowadays, but I guess it's legal now.
Oh, man.
So it's not the one from his right shoulder, but his left one. When you see him move like that, I'm like, oh man, I'm watching the Juggernaut about to kill somebody.
What's that? Perry on Winfrey got away with murder? Well, I can't say that I approve, but I'm glad he's trying new things.
Hey, I mean, it put us in a great advantage. I mean, he rocked Purdy. I think that rocked him.
Well, that's what happens when you decide I'm going to go back inside and not look and see
that is a Cardinal
the giant
sin.
silverback that's coming my way. Boom.
That is the Cardinal sin when you're running the ball. You do not cut it back inside against the grain like that.
Perry on Winfrey made him pay. And they're all, and that's where I was like with the rest. Like, they're walking, do we call targeting? No, you don't call targeting.
And the thing is that Purdy's supposed to be a senior of all things? He should know by then.
I have the same opinion that I have.
Purdy's always been a little, listen, as much as Iowa State has given OU problems over the years, and I had to deal with a comment like today. It's like, I'm getting really sick. It's getting sick and tired. It's getting old about Iowa State as a tough out, man. And it's like, yes, they're tough out. Have you seen their coach?
Yeah.
This isn't the I'm so proud guy from 2010. All right, this is a different program. They've had a rough year. Obviously, it's still Matt Campbell, even though he had
They're having the same thing we did right after the Sugar Bowl, where we had all these expectations and they fell flat. For us, it was a lot of injuries.
He had a champions of life moment.
Yeah,
he did. I mean, he's on dial probably for some other schools, possibly, maybe. But
hey, we won. How about that? We're allowed to win. So how about?
Yeah. But I mean, Gavin on Perry on Winfrey, he made Brock Purdy go out of his shoes. That was a great hit.
Yeah.
But I'm still a fan personally of Jalen Redmond's Fat Boy Tutty run.
Oh,
fantastic.
Yeah.
I love me a Fat Boy
extra thick touchdown run right there. I love it when the big man gets a score, though.
This is a play we did. It was a play we desperately needed too.
Yeah,
we did.
I'm and I'm trying to remember. When was the last time we had a big guy score a touchdown? The only one I can think of was back in 20. And I'm kind of just going back on here a little bit, and I know that I could be wrong, but the only notable one I can remember was back in 2013, Red River. I can't remember who it was.
There's a one after that. It's
wait. Do we not count Gino? Does Gino Grissom does he not count?
For which game?
Bama Sugar Bowl.
Yeah, that's the one I'm just saying. The scoop and score with Bama.
I mean, he's not interior big man, but he's still, he's an outside.
If you're talking a traditional one, yeah, sure, Redmond. But for the last time, it was definitely with the Sugar Bowl.
Grissom, yeah. I was thinking there was one that there was against Texas. I know we lost that game, but we had it was a big guy had an interception, pick six, picking it from the quarterback, if I'm not mistaken. That's what I was thinking on the top of my head.
Yeah. Yesterday game, you got thinking of that, though. You got to give that defense just the game ball. They played lights.
No, Josh. We needed to fire Grinch in the first quarter because we gave up that third down on that third play of the game. So therefore,
I thought it was the fourth quarter, Sean, because Kolar was just such a factor the entire game.
Well, that's what happens when you have a great tight end. They are factors. If tight ends are really difficult to cover, especially when you're trying to shut down Breece Hall and Xavier Hutchinson at the same time. It is kind of a miracle that we were able to do that. Breece Hall was not a factor yesterday.
Even though he wasn't
Breece Hall, I do want to say this. I said it in my post game too. I want to give him credit for getting a touchdown, still about to break the record. That's still something notable.
Yeah.
He's going to be doing wonders in the NFL. He's going to be good.
But here's my problem, though. Why do you decide, near the next to the last play of the game to now double team Kolar and not do it, on some of the series, throughout? That's what
in my opinion. It's because he wasn't a factor in the entire game. they had other players going. Kohler was the only time when it's like, okay, they keep on doing the same thing. Now we got to double team him. That was my thought on it. Was I didn't see a problem with them adjusting. He didn't do anything in the other 3.5.
I really was worried that, oh my god, they're going to go down and score, and people are going to bitch about the defense and blame them. And I know, like, they'll bitch about the offense too, but like they're going to blame the defense, and it's like, really? And then thankfully there was the tip, and he overshot him, and there's the tip.
Well,
Sean, never in doubt, because Brock Purdy just did his signature game-ending interception. That's his signature.
Well, that was like, now what, 2 times in a row he's done that now? Well, actually, and I'm including Spencer Bradler on this. That's like 3 games in a row that we've had a game-sealing interception. 3 games in a row.
I mean, you mean for a win, or?
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about Iowa State.
Yeah, like 3 games in a row. I'm just talking about like both teams in general, like within the both teams. Like Spencer Rattler, he had an INT.
Yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying. I'm trying to, like, what are you talking about? I was like, oh yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah. But we don't have to play them anymore. Like they're not in the. There's only 3 teams available to play in the Big 12 championship per se. So
well, we play him next year, but we won't get Brock Purdy.
No. I'm talking about the rest of the year. I don't care about next year. Like next year's different, but. So basically, we win, we're in the Big 12 title game. If we happen to lose, for God, heaven forbid, well, we're already going to know our fate regardless, because Baylor's got to play Tech, and if Tech wins, then we clinch a spot even before we play. But if Baylor wins, then listen, the goal is to win the game, obviously, up there. But regardless, they will know their fate one way or another when they go to Stillwater.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, they'll know what's up. I mean, I'm a little worried that if Tech beats Baylor, they're going to play down at that point with it. But
are you kidding me? There's no way. Not when you're this close. I refuse to believe that. Like, take away, like, they're not just playing for the Big 12. They're still like. They legit will. They will make the playoff if they win out.
Yeah,
they will make the playoff, because all you really need, honestly, you just need Georgia to beat Bama, and then it all, like, Tuesday is going to tell the story. Because I'll tell you what, if Michigan is ahead of Cincinnati, you just basically told Cincinnati it doesn't matter what you do.
They're going to be ahead of Cincinnati. Let's be honest. Let's be honest.
I'm not sure about that, but I'll tell you what, that is going to be that will be a bombshell that you're basically telling them it doesn't matter what you do the rest of the year. Doesn't matter if you beat East Carolina. Doesn't matter if you beat Houston. It'll be a big slap in the face, because here's the thing about Cincinnati. They whooped the one team I thought was going to beat them this year. They whooped them. Now, a lot of other teams could.
I thought you thought Houston was going to beat them.
No, SMU is the.
Well,
I mean, Houston is a team they will play at this point, but I really thought SMU was the game. Okay, this is the game that, like, you saw Cincinnati struggle and this and that, and then they just opened up a can on them, and it was like, oh, okay, that's good for them. And then Michigan beat up on Maryland. Crushed them. They're an okay Maryland team. They're not great. They're very average, but they still crushed them late. They tacked on a lot of points late. So one way or another, Ohio State, Michigan are going to knock each other out, one or the other.
I'm sorry.
I mean, you called it with Utah and Oregon. Utah got annihilated Oregon.
I mean, I didn't think they would murder death kill them. I thought they would beat them, but they just. Like that punt return right when time expired before the half.
That leaves the door open. And by the way, here lies the Pac-12's hopes and dreams of a championship. And it goes down the drain
again.
Yeah.
Again.
So, but like I said, I think my deal is that the skill positions right now for Ohio State is probably like, and granted, Michigan State's secondary is not the greatest. I'm going to say that.
No, it is awful. It's worse than ours.
I know, but I'm very interested because of, like, with this game, Ohio State is like won, like, how many years in a row since, like, 2014, 2013, if I'm not mistaken. They've won like 8, 9 in a row. I can't lost count.
The last time Michigan won was like 2011, I want to say.
It's been about 10 years. I mean, and whether
And-
people want to
and
admit
that-
it or
and
not,
that was-
I
think-
hold on. I think it's 2013, if I remember.
No, Luke Fick. Well, no, because Urban Meyer was the head coach in 12. He never lost to Michigan. Because Urban Meyer took over in 12 when they had that undefeated year where they were like had a bowl ban, like postseason ban.
yeah.
So like it had to be 11 because Luke Fickell was like the interim head coach that year.
It was 11.
It was like
It was
ironic
all the way back to 2003.
Yeah, and then like I remember I watched that 2003 game in a sports bar on Fort Bragg. I mean, I was like, good for Michigan, they won. But then I was like, I keep forgetting about that 2011 win because it just seems like, oh yeah, that technically happened, but it just feels like they haven't won since then.
Because
like,
Ohio State has dominated them.
Yeah,
it's like you beat the substitute teacher in Luke Fickell, basically.
Well, not only that though, but besides just Michigan, I mean, they've been dominating the conference for for over 10 years, other than maybe Alabama, of course.
I mean, to be fair, Michigan State's been like D'Antonio when he was the coach there, and Penn State's had their moments. So it's not like no one's jumped up and like had a little success. But yeah, for the most part, it has been Ohio State's conference. It's kind of like, hey, Baylor popped up once in a while and won the conference, and or TCU. So there's been a few moments like that. Michigan State's been kind of that, but yeah, the Big Ten's going to be pretty much decided, and then heaven forbid whoever has to play Ohio State from the West, whoever decides that. I mean, Wisconsin's got a solid defense statistically. I just don't think it's going to matter at the end of the day because they don't have any offensive weapons that can keep up, in my opinion.
I mean, look at Bedlam. That's like us right now. We both have defenses, and it's coming down to taking out the OSU factor.
I'll tell you what, the one thing no one's going to talk about this week, and it's going to sound really silly because people are going to look at stats. The Oklahoma defense is playing its best football at the right time. And
I mentioned that on my post game, Sean, where I said this is the time. If you're gonna get hot, this is the time. And boy, did they come out and do it.
And look, I don't know what the hell the deal is with the offense, and it's going to be a challenge again this week, regardless. But
maybe if we can just learn how to run the ball probably a bit more instead of having to rely on the throws
we can't do that with Twitter football.
Well, hold on. I'm just saying.
No, I'm joking.
Okay, I was just saying because.
But didn't you know we don't know how to run the football?
I know that's the problem.
And we don't know how to forward pass it either.
It's amazing. They literally ran the ball every play on our final scoring drive, not one pass.
And I will say this, like, their defense for Iowa State, it is designed to be run because you had 5 guys.
Well, it's a 3-3-5. Yeah, they're begging you to run. They say, please run the football.
That's what that's where I was getting at.
And that it just drives me nuts that Lincoln always plays to our opponent's strengths every single time.
Well, no, it's
Lincoln, run the ball.
I listen. I get what he's trying to do. He's trying to run his playbook. I get it, but damn it, he outthinks. He tries to outthink the room sometimes. Like, dude, just take the path of least resistance. Your D is playing really well. Like, that was the mistake he made against Baylor. Is like it's hard to fight against what's been working for you for 5 or 6 years. It's hard to do that. It's a little bit of stubbornness. It's like, damn it, I'm gonna make this work. This square peg's gonna fit this round hole. Damn it, we're gonna make it work. It's like, no, Kennedy Brooks is your bell cow, man. Give him the damn ball. The other thing he needs to do, he's got to set Caleb up. Because, even though the Cowboys lost tonight, like Dallas Cowboys, and it made me sad, and they had a tough out, offensively too, but because they couldn't get big plays down the field, but because CeeDee Lamb went out with a concussion, and they had no Amari Cooper, but what Dak did, as a professional quarterback who gets paid money to do that, he would check down to Pollard or Zeke, and they would get a few yards. That's the thing Caleb has to he started to do that a couple weeks ago in certain games against Tech and TCU. He's got to set Caleb up with some checkdowns, man. Because
what's funny, Sean, is when you mention that, it makes me think we're in Bizarro world, and we're the opposite of what we were with Jalen. Because Jalen would go it really fast and just bolt. Caleb's holding on to the ball too long, and he needs to bolt.
Well, no, Jalen just like his first instinct is to freaking run, and it would drive me insane. But at the same time, it's like the problem for Caleb, he's a true freshman, and he's playing like a true freshman.
Yeah,
And there are guys who are open who if you go back and watch the POV replays, and it's like, oh look, that receiver is going to come open if he throws the ball, or he throws him open. Just these are. He's still only played like half a season of real life, and the games are only getting tougher. So it's trial by fire right now, and listen. At some point, he's going to have to make those throws. Like running the football is great, but you're not going to be able to you're not going to hand the ball off to Kennedy Brooks 50 times or Eric Gray 50 times or however a combination of him and I don't know. Maybe Marcus Major will be allowed to get on the field one day, and I don't know if he's just kind of just sitting there eating a hot dog or whatever with the punters. I mean, by the way, props to Turk. He's the only player on special teams doing his job at the moment. But it's just
Our kick hasn't been the same once he kicked that burrito.
God, I don't know what's up with him, man, but he is just like he can hit extra points, so I still have hope. Just like you got to trick him, like, dude, it's an extra point.
I think it's like I think it's like something mental or something. I'm thinking for some reason.
He has the yips.
Well, it's like college football. The hash marks are way wider, so it's a lot tougher to hit some of those like angle kicks, especially when it's closer.
Yeah,
like that's where he struggled to pass. Like the closer it is, you get those far hash marks. That could be a bitch. So I think he'll be fine. He'll get over it because he can still hit extra points regardless. I know those are like gimmies, but even so, it's like I think he'll get over it. But at some point, like I really do believe on Saturday that the Oklahoma defense, because who does OSU have? Tay Martin running the football. He's been really good for him this year.
Don't get me started with Tay Martin.
What?
Well,
good for him. Good for him. Well, I know what he said. Good for him.
Yeah, I'm gonna say where have we heard a lot of the trash talking that we've heard from before?
No, don't get mad. Just don't get mad. I wouldn't get mad. It's like okay, that's cool. Say what you want to say. Say what you want to say.
It's locker room. It's billboard.
No, just let him say it. Let him say how he feels. It's like okay. Y'all haven't beat us in 7 years. Okay.
Sean, the the best running back on Oklahoma State right now is Jalen Warren, and I don't even think he's national level. Not like Brees Hall or even Bijan at the time.
Just that's fine. Listen, like Spencer Sanders to me is like he's not Brock Purdy, but you know what? You know who Spencer Sanders reminds me of?
Great value.
No, not even great. No, not even great value. He's like to me, he's Stetson Bennett.
Oh yeah, we talked about that.
He's Stetson Bennett. That's who he is. So like now Stetson Bennett has way more talented people around him, like mind you, but like Spencer Sanders is Stetson Bennett. In a weird way, playing Oklahoma State and playing them twice, if I want to be optimistic and super confident for whatever reason that I have no reason to be, this is good. This is like Scout Team Georgia.
Yeah.
If I want to be arrogant Oklahoma fan, this is Scout Team Georgia. Guess who we may end up playing if we win 2 games?
Possibly Georgia.
Oh yeah.
It's Scout Team Georgia.
Well, and that's the thing too, is this is kind of the ideal of who do you want, Baylor again, or do you want Oklahoma State? Take Oklahoma State because their defense, they got some big boys, but
there is
isn't that good.
Yeah, but there's no scenario where we would play Baylor. Like it would either be us versus Oklahoma State.
I know. I'm talking in general. The ones actually in contention, you would want Oklahoma State. It's working out in our advantage for that. But I mean, Spencer Sanders reminds me, honestly, I would still say he's better than Brock Purdy. I have just never been impressed with Brock Purdy.
I've never been impressed with Spencer Sanders. So where does that leave us?
Like I said, he's great value. Sam Ehlinger. To me, Brock Purdy is just one of those. I don't even know what he is at this point because the moment you give him any type of pressure, he throws an interception.
Here's what's really hilarious. There is a good if we win out per se, make the playoff. There's a really good chance that we won't play, in my opinion, a really good dynamic QB.
You think pocket passer?
Here's the thing. CJ Stroud is like the super favorite to win the Heisman right now. And he probably will if Ohio State, goes on, beats Michigan, and wins the Big Ten. He's going to probably win it. And that sucks because we're tied with Ohio State and Notre Dame for Heismans. And so they'll break the tie and they'll have 8. So, but like CJ Stroud's really good because he's surrounded by just like ridiculous skill talent.
Yeah.
Like Garrett Wilson was potentially going to be part of like that our 3 wide receiver group that we got with like Weiss, Hazelwood, and a certain person who's no longer on the team because he's a moron. Garrett Wilson was another guy going after, but he went to Ohio State. And so it's like Garrett Wilson, the best, was better than all of them, honestly.
Yeah.
Like Garrett Wilson, but like Olave's good. And hell, like Alabama got a transfer from Ohio State wide receiver who couldn't crack their depth chart and was killing it like yesterday in the Arkansas game. And they needed everything they could play. They needed all of it too. They needed every point to beat Arkansas.
Man, if Bo Nix didn't get his ankle broken, I would have said, "Oh, Alabama's losing." But now I would say they're going to lose to Georgia. Georgia's going to whoop ass on them.
Alabama's offensive line is just not good enough. They will be ripped to shreds, and it's going to be a long day for Bryce Young, in my opinion. Don't get me wrong. I think it'll still be a good game overall, but I don't see like Georgia's going to be heavy. It will be heavy favorites and heavy, maybe like a touchdown favorite, in my opinion. That's heavy for for those 2 teams. But man, it'll be a fun game to watch in a couple weeks. But because they'll crush Georgia Tech this week, and then Bama will. I wouldn't be surprised if like Bama effed around in Jordan-Hare just because, but I don't know. They lost to South Carolina, so
I just don't see all.
No, they're not going to lose, but it's like I wouldn't be surprised they effed around for a quarter or 2 because that's what Alabama does. They really they screw around for a quarter and a half, and they can't like. They got like 2 left feet, and they don't know what to do, and then they oh crap, we got to win now.
We actually have to go out and do something. What?
Mechie for Bama had 300 yards receiving. They had a 300-yard receiver. It was insane.
Yeah,
Goodness. Do you think Arkansas is catching up to them then?
Arkansas is like a 7-win team this year. They are not the doormat they used to be. I mean, it's a combination also of like the SEC just being like utter garbage overall this year. I mean, Georgia's great, and everyone else like Alabama's like next tier, and then everyone else is like, eh. Like the SEC is kind of weak this year overall. What? Think about it. Who, after Alabama, who are you like looking at going, yeah, that's a team I worry about. I guess Arkansas, maybe. If Auburn was healthy, maybe.
I was gonna say Florida, but
oh no, Bob Stoops to Florida. That's happening.
Yeah,
of course.
That train. No, that train has already started down here.
Oh gosh.
Bob's living his best life being a local tequila salesman.
He's a national tequila salesman. Let's get this.
I'm sorry. He's a national tequila peddler.
You could order that tequila online, I believe, if you're.
Yeah, you can. And
I wonder how that works with online sales and state boundaries. I'm curious on that. Just off topic.
Well, maybe I'm like in misinformed, but I'm sure there's like a.
See, now I want to have like Bob's tequila and like Barry Switzer's alcohol and be like, all right, which one's better?
You want to get the Switzer Vineyard like wine,
Mm-hmm.
I need to get Dan Aykroyd's Crystal Skull vodka. That's what I need to get. I know that's not what you really
want Billy Sims barbecue right now.
I mean, but hey, no, Sean, that is OU stuff because Ghostbusters. Just
listen. Don't get me started. I'll go on a 30-minute. Not even a rant. Like I'll go on for 30 minutes about that damn movie.
I know you cried. You
twice.
said it was amazing.
No, I cried twice. I'm a grown man.
Was there any OU stuff?
I did not. After seeing it twice, I did not see any Oklahoma or Oklahoma State or Tulsa stuff. There were like one kid walking into like the school wearing an OKC Thunder hat. That was it. So that was your sports reference for small town Oklahoma, which was filmed in Canada, by the way. It wasn't filmed in
I mean, it's like if anything, you want to kind of keep it generic as possible, or
Well, they built the
like
town
that.
from scratch and everything out in the middle of nowhere, pretty much.
Yeah,
At least,
yeah.
at least it looked like they did. They built the town, little main street area, whatever.
Yeah.
So, but
Okay.
anyway, the movie's fantastic. I recommend it.
I plan to see it this week.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you. Depending on how much you love the original Ghostbusters, is going to amplify your fondness of the film. If you don't
I
give
love the original. The second one's okay to me because
okay. Like the original's all that
it.
matters. The original's all that matters. If you actually genuinely love the first movie, like this thing has
I
like
enjoy the first one.
like this thing has a 96% audience score. If you care about those things, it's like 60% like Rotten Tomatoes, but I don't care about critics because their opinions mean nothing to me. Because guess what? You know, audience is like 96%. Audiences like it. It's really fun, and it's
that
really
means
good.
it'd be a cult classic at that point. If
No, it won't. It won't be a cult classic. It'll be a hit. Like cult classic, a cult classic is like Tremors that didn't do well at the box office, but people liked later.
The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie, like that's a cult classic. It really is.
Is it?
Yeah, it really is. They said,
I don't know about that's too much of a giant brand, in my opinion, to be a quote unquote cult classic.
Okay,
it wasn't like something like Tremors. It wasn't based on anything. It was an original thing that like.
Okay,
Army of Darkness was a cult classic.
Army of Darkness. That's a good one. That is a good one. That's a very good one.
Yeah. So anyway, back to college football.
But yes, I do plan to see it. Just because too, based in Oklahoma. I actually just watched Ghostbusters.
I'm probably going to go see it tomorrow. I'm probably going to go see it again tomorrow because why not?
Might as well.
That'll be my third.
Back football. But here's my question. Here's my question for both of y'all. What gets Lincoln Riley out of his play calling slump at this point? I know you kind of said like it's hard to get away from that, but at the same time, this is going about 2.5 years now.
Well, one would hope that he learned his lesson at the end of the game when he just ran the football and it worked. And obviously, it's not. We know.
I mean, Sean, you and I both, and Gavin both know, like he didn't because he always says the same thing at the press conference. I gotta remember after the running game. You've been saying that for 7 years, Lincoln. Like, get yourself an intern to tap you on the shoulder and be like, "You got a run game." I mean, to me, that's first, second year stuff.
What we need to do is hire Dan Mullen because he's available to be the OC.
No.
Oh, and I mean, if we're gonna get Dan Mullen, might as well hire Muschamp for our defensive coordinator.
There you go. It's the black guy gift. Tapping his head, really, just like thinking.
Big brain mode. You want the SEC? Just hire the Florida people, of course.
Okay. How about and I know I'm going to go into the serious, but I know I've seen this with other programs, and I might not know this and everything. You guys might know this though too. But isn't there like a passing and running game coordinators or something like that, or passing game, running game coaches usually that they have usually?
Not necessarily. I mean, yes and no.
They'll specialize in it, but no, they won't spend money for it. The most even I've seen with us, it's like we'll never hire a special teams coach.
I mean, Kale's a wide receivers coach, and I think he falls into that category. So, yeah, I think that's part of it. But Lincoln is OC, QB coach, and head coach. So,
yeah, because it's like I don't know. It's like if you anything like. I was just thinking, and I know I'm just thinking in the wishful land and stuff and like that. But if you remember when they had that, he's now the offensive coordinator for the Panthers now. Oh gosh, who was it?
Yeah, I know he was the LSU OC.
Yeah,
he and Dave Aranda were the reason they won a championship, unlike someone else who's about to lose his job.
Yeah, so
I mean, he technically already has. He's just like lame duck.
Yeah,
he's got one game to go.
Yeah,
does his name begin with Sa and end with Ark?
No, I'm talking about Ed O.
Oh well, yes. I'm thinking of Sark.
I don't think Sark is going to go after this year.
6 in a row, huh? It's going for the record.
Yeah, the problem is, it's like you're basically putting everything all in that first year and everything, and it's like. I just have a hard time,
It's like-
seeing somebody go after just 1 year.
Oh yeah, I would like to introduce you to one Howard Schnellenberger. Oh wait, he's dead now, so we can't. But
God rest his soul and everything.
I'll pass on that.
He tried to ruin the OU program.
Yeah, I'll pass on that. Thank you. I know.
If he loses this game, I do think it's realistic that Sark will get.
Okay, here's the thing with Sark. He is not going to get fired because there's no one, like, number one, there's no one out there that's like a slam dunk. And even if there was, it still wouldn't work in my opinion, but there is no like, my God, there's a slam dunk. Like, the greatest irony of them all is that they got desperate and they called up Bob. If Texas got super desperate and called up Bob. Now, Bob would never do it because it's like, no, I could never do that. No, can't.
Bob would laugh his ass off and then hang up.
Hey, Reggie, just got a call from Austin. They're really desperate.
What'd you do?
They're really desperate. They're calling my ass. But no, there's no one. Like, and not to mention all the other big jobs that are open right now, like big brand name jobs. Like, it is crazy how many major programs that have won championships in my lifetime are looking for or have competed for championships.
We're in
my lifetime.
Coaching carousel. LSU,
Yeah.
Florida, Texas. I'm going to say within the next 5 years, they're not.
Well, that's not right now. But USC is looking for
Florida.
a coach.
Yeah.
USC. And
LSU.
then,
Virginia Tech's looking for a coach.
I was so
Virginia
sad
Tech,
that it didn't work out for Fuente. I thought it would for him, and it just.
yeah. I mean, I thought,
Nope.
if anything, like, I mean, I don't know. He wasn't bad, but he wasn't good either.
Like, if you would have
Why-
told me that all those schools would be looking for jobs and Jim Harbaugh was still the coach at Michigan by this time, like a year ago, I'd have laughed.
And
But-
now, okay. Let's.
Here we are!
Here we are, Sean. What is it now? Is it just no different than Scott Frost? He's at Nebraska still.
Scott Frost still has his job. Scott Frost still has his job.
Harbaugh and Frost still have their jobs, but USC, Florida.
To be fair, Harbaugh, whether he's like one game away from seriously like going to the playoff. Well, you have to win the big. It would be so Harbaugh if he found a way to win this week and then lose the next week to like Wisconsin or something. Like, that'd be so Jim Harbaugh. That'd be so Jim Harbaugh.
I mean, like, every game that they've had this year has been that they've lost to has been nearly some of them just nearly one possession.
They're like plus 7 points, and when it comes to like against Big Ten conference opponents, plus 7, not minus, plus.
Here's a question for you, Sean and Gavin. So we mentioned the ones too, and it comes to mind of, okay, these are the ones that have no coach right now. Let's say offseason. Which schools should have their coach on red alert that they're going to get poached? And I'm serious about that. Who do you think?
I don't know. Like, I mean, Baylor should always be. Baylor should always be on red alert.
Yeah,
I would say
Baylor, despite what they are a stepping stone program now. They've established they're a stepping stone program, just based on who they are. So, like, Matt Rule was there for a couple of years, got in, got out.
Yeah,
Dave Aranda is just waiting for the right. I don't know if like USC go after him. If I'm LSU, I'd go after his ass.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Florida would be interested at this point.
I mean, you can win at Florida. Obviously, it is just really, really tough because in normal Florida, back in when I was growing up, it was a dogfight between 3 power programs that won natties on the reg, right?
And Bob was there.
Yeah, and Bob was part of that as an assistant. So, but it's not like that right now. So, this is like the time you could win the state of Florida if the right school gets the right coach at the right time. Miami is a dumpster fire. Florida State is
Texas. Texas is the same way.
Well, no, but like A&M is like in firm control of in-state schools. Like Jimbo's not leaving A&M. Like people are like,
way.
It's funny. I've completely forgot about A&M when you said because I'm thinking Tech, Baylor, TCU.
Well, no, A&M is once again underperforming because that's just what the Aggies do. But their recruiting is like off the charts right now, and maybe by accident one year they'll actually participate in the SEC title game. But until it happens, they'll find a way to screw that
would
up.
pretty much be like seeing Alabama going down in a heartbeat, that's no time soon.
But the Aggies are 3 losses this year. How about that? 3. Good. Got to give them credit.
They will hang their hat on beating Bama.
Yeah, Georgia probably whoop them. Like it won't come down to a field goal either.
And you have to see, let's be honest, too. I mean, it's not like they lost to bad teams either. A&M lost to Arkansas. They lost to Mississippi.
Well, they almost lost to Colorado. Let's not get crazy.
Yeah.
No, I know that. I'm talking just in general. Like they lost to decent teams.
But they shouldn't lose to Mississippi State at home. You can't lose to Mississippi State at home. Like I know Leach is the coach and everything.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I was thinking. Yeah, Lane Kiffin. Speaking of that, Lane Kiffin has done a great job at Ole Miss. Like I have to give him credit.
Sure. I mean, that's another people talk about coaching. Like I keep hearing people say Miami should go after Lane Kiffin, and what a marriage made in hell that would be.
I don't want Lane Kiffin here.
No.
I give him credit for what he did at Ole Miss, but no.
What do you mean
wonder
here?
if Lane Kiffin's looking at the Florida job. I mean, I'll be honest. I think maybe he is.
Oh God! So Lane Kiffin takes another. Like I don't know if he would go for another SEC job though.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's it's one thing for a coordinator in the SEC to take a head coaching job in the SEC because that's what Mullen did. And we all know how that turned out. But head coach going from one SEC to another, like Saban had an NFL trip in between his SEC head jobs. So I just don't see a head coach unless you're like at Vandy or something. I don't know. It's
Kentucky.
I just don't.
Is anyone going to poach Mark? I don't think he's done enough to get that level of you should go after Mark Stoops.
I mean, he has Rice Kentucky football up though, but it's not to the point to where I would hire him right away. Either.
The SEC East is so garbage outside of Georgia. Someone needs to step up and be. Someone could step up and be a contender against Georgia. For a little bit, it was Florida, and it was also vice versa. It was Georgia stepped up to Florida and vice versa. It was back and forth for a while.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's Heupel's getting a little bit of credit for what he's done at Tennessee. I just don't think in the long run, though, they're going to learn the hard way that Heupel doesn't recruit very well.
And the flip side with Heupel, though, too, it's it's going to be a success when you're at super duper rock bottom.
I mean, yeah, to an extent, but the Josh Heupel run at Tennessee is they're okay now. Wait for 2 more years. I just think the same thing's going to happen at the end of the day. Tennessee will not be thrilled because people forget they went through 30 people before they got to the guy before Heupel.
Yeah.
And then he got fired because of NCAA violation investigations. So,
and the Mickey D bags, don't forget that.
I tried to get one of those at my local McDonald's, but they were out. They discontinued those bags. Tried to get one.
So disappointing.
It's very disappointing.
Would you go for? Okay, here's one name that I think of. He didn't do that well at UNLV because it was UNLV. But what about Bobby? I think it's Huack. He coaches Montana. I feel he'd be like a Chris Kleiman.
But that's a K-State hire.
Yeah, I just don't.
I mean,
I don't think a big program is going after an FCS coach
unless you're Vandy.
Excuse me.
But again, I don't consider Vandy a big time program. I consider them.
Well, I mean, what I'm saying though is basically hiring that Montana coach into that mid wherever they were at though, somewhere near the bottom.
What about SMU's head coach? I mean, he's still on the table.
He's going to TCU probably.
Yeah.
Oh, you think he is at this point?
Oh God, yes, he's going to TCU.
I mean,
irony, but then okay, then all that's left then it would be everyone fighting over Arnanda unless he wants to stay there on like a contract.
He is not staying at Baylor. There is no way.
I mean, with the way
right. Where would he go to? Would he go to USC?
He has his choice. That's the beauty part.
I think if anything, he has strong ties to LSU. I wouldn't be surprised if he does go to LSU.
I wouldn't just assume he's going to. Now, look, if I'm LSU, I roll out the red carpet for him. But at the same time, like, does Dave Aranda want to go to LSU? Dave Aranda, like, if USC, everyone's pointing at USC. USC needs a coach like that who can recruit and coach with like. Like there are certain there are certain programs that have no excuse for not being great.
USC is one.
USC is one of them.
Basically all the blue bloods.
Well, no, not even that. Not a blue blood. There are certain programs who have no excuse for not being great, just based on what is in your backyard. USC has no excuse for not being great.
Georgia,
yeah. To an extent, yeah. Georgia, all the Florida schools. Texas has no excuse for not being great. Because getting back to them, it's like I keep hearing the same like the same national people who hype up Texas every year. I keep hearing them making excuses for Sark.
You want to know the funny part? The Texas people on their boards and stuff, speaking of that, are saying, "Well, these Texas kids, they just don't get it. We need to recruit out of Texas." I'm like, "Are y'all stupid? Are y'all that stupid, guys?"
You guys got it's always been hot recruiting bad. If anything,
Texas out recruits Oklahoma on paper nearly every year. Every year.
But
on paper,
they cannot develop them on the field. That's the problem.
Like most of the recruits for the past couple of years are gone. All the big ones. Cameron Rising's gone. Cameron Rising's at Utah and he's beating Oregon. It's like it's a joke. Like that's why I tell people it's like, listen, like don't be surprised if like Bijan says peace, I'm out. I'm not saying he's going to OU. It would be hilarious if he did, but my God.
He doesn't want to stay with Sark. That's a dumpster fire.
I don't think Sark specifically is the problem. Like you're reading reports this past week that certain boosters are trying to tell Sark what players to play based on their skin color. Like the old listen.
Whoa! Let's back that up. I haven't even heard that.
Yes, this is dude. There are so many racist Texas boosters. You remember like Red Combs or whatever his name was when Charlie Strong was hired. He made the racist comments about him.
About before he.
That's not. There are so many 10-gallon hat racist white rich guys who think they're all in charge down there, and to some extent they are. These are the same guys who lost their minds over the school potentially getting rid of the Eyes of Texas.
Oh God!
All that shit is still like people feel like a whole offseason. All that shit is still there. It is like a giant distraction.
I didn't realize that. I thought it was the high school.
No, Sark came out and denied it. Said, "Oh no, that didn't happen." Bullshit. I believed it.
Oh man! I mean, there is so.
You need to play Hudson Card. Wink, wink.
And there are so many issues that. It has been such a bad culture issue that's been going on. In fact,
go ahead, Gavin. I'm going to add to that with that, but
okay. But I was going to say, and it was like saying, like the whole issue and everything. I was even looking this up, like their first, and I'm just going history book here, and I'm just kind of going from a whole history.
Hey, Joe, do some research, why don't you? Why don't you look up the history of the program and look up the Eyes of Texas and where it came from?
Yeah. Like
you want to call me a clown? Go ahead.
Yeah,
all right.
Joe. Like, come on, dude.
But
I got decades of history to back me up on this.
I have a history degree. I can back it up
but
too.
And I'm gonna say this. Their first African American player wasn't until 1970. 1970.
FYI, Gavin, FYI, Texas does still brag about having the last all-white team. Like, that's not even...
That was
it's not said ironically. It's actually bragged about.
That's like, what, 1969?
They were like the last all... They were like the last all-white natty team, basically.
And and that is like... and everything, and then they pretty much didn't win another title until 2005. But I'm just saying, like, there's like such a cult, like such a issue within the culture that within that program maybe within the university. I don't know, like how, like too far to an extent, but it's just sort of mind-boggling to me because it's like it's still like holding in the the glory, all those glory days and everything, but and yet they're not making progress forward. That's where I've been so irritated with with Texas with over the
But
years.
here's the thing with Texas, and I can say this from Sooner Vision stuff. The big problem Texas has right now is, yes, there's dumpster fire. You have so many politics with which Mac Brown was really, really good at appeasing the donors, appeasing the administration, and appeasing the high school coaches. The big problem you have right now with Texas, though, is you have two athletic directors. You have a men's athletic director and you have a women's, and they butt heads. Pretty much, they all say, from the men's side of it, they say the football brings the money in. The women's athletic director, it's not a secret, by the way, has been known to say, okay, for every dollar you spend for Texas football, you need to spend $5 for women's sports with it, regardless of what sport it is, regardless if it brings money in or not. That's not a secret. And they butt heads, and you're having a dumpster fire. Yet, basically, as a head coach, when you're hired, you have to appease not one, but two athletic directors, not to mention all the high school coaches.
First off, who hires two athletic directors?
Texas.
Okay.
Now, I will say I don't know the story of why there's two.
I could probably come up with a reason why. I don't know officially, so I'm not going to pretend. And when it comes to that, but at the end of the day, it's just there's too many people who think they're in charge down there. It's not the football coach. The football coach is.
Right, and that's
like
why
I was so like what the difference between OU and Texas is like
we have one athletic director.
Well, that we have arguably the best one in the country, like top five.
Because Josie puts the boosters in their place until it gets to the point of he can't anymore.
Yeah.
Well, the one thing like however you feel about David Boren, like in his tenure at OU and some of the mistakes he's made financially, of course. Because he made plenty of those. The one thing, whether it was just for optics or not, the one thing I'm glad he did when he got a smoking gun for SAE, he kicked their asses off campus.
Yep,
and that was because he knew that was the only. He didn't have a choice, but. Could you imagine if that was down in Austin and some boosters tried to get involved? No, we can't get rid of like that chapter. Our chapter that is like.
I'm trying to remember, Sean. I think it's in the Wishbone book, or it's in Barry Switzer's book, or it's in one of the OU books I've read. Barry Switzer outright says a lot of the African American players came to OU to spite Texas with it, to beat them because of that reason. That's not a secret either. Like
Bubba Smith, who's like a legendary player at Michigan State, and who's on with who's in the Police Academy movies. Like his dream was to play at Texas, but he couldn't. Like Darryl Rowland said, I wish I could get you, but there's too many racist people down here who don't want you to play.
Yeah, and for anybody watching, that's not a secret. These are written in books. Like the only reason Texas started recruiting African American players in the 70s was they were losing. They had to do it, even though that's not the reason that they should have done it for equality and things like that.
And if I'm not mistaken, wasn't that also another issue with like Bear Bryant down in Alabama as well?
But Bear was a coward in the sense that he's been quoted as saying in the past, I won't be the first to break the color. Like I'm paraphrasing, I won't be the first to break the color barrier, but I won't be the third. And it's like, wow, that just makes you a giant coward. That's like if you have like HBO has a great documentary called Breaking the Huddle. And that he's quoted just saying is like, and they treated like it was this amazing thing he said. It's like, you're Bear Bryant. Like you're Bear Bryant. If anyone could get away with that, I don't want to say get away, but anyone could like make a change as a symbol, it's Bear Bryant.
Yeah.
And you go to like the legend is that they did a home and home with USC. USC came down and they whooped Alabama, Sam Bam Cunningham, and there's like there's a legend that people heard like at a diner the next morning. Bear needs to get some of them quote unquote Negro boys to come play here, like that Sam Bam Cunningham or whatever, and then black players could play in the South all of a sudden. It's just. But no, like I don't know if it's on HBO Max. I hope they put it on there. If it's not, it's a great documentary that like basically takes you through, the Southwest Conference, the SEC, the ACC of like the very first African American players to play college football, and there are some sad stories.
Yeah,
Like,
there is, and that's
there
why
are
they
the
said,
heartbreaking stories, man. And Lee Corso is kind of like involved in one of them, and it's like a really like you go back. Lee Corso's kind of an awesome dude when you hear the stories about what Lee did, like back in the day when he was a young assistant coach. Like Lee Corso, like I always loved Lee Corso for some of the shit he did back then. Like Lee was an awesome dude.
yeah, I mean, it's all true. That's the thing, is this isn't happenstance. There is stuff documented, just like OU being, I think it's the first one to integrate. Like they did that because they said it's time. Like,
yeah, Bud Wilkinson broke the color barrier in the 50s. So eat it.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying Oklahoma was just a peaceful wonderland for all races and creeds back in the 50s. Once he did that, it still isn't. But that like a man of that stature in the 50s was able to do that and quote unquote not lose his job or so forth. Like, so that's why I always roll my eyes when I hear Bear Bryant couldn't do it, because Alabama is supposedly like that much more like during that period like harder to integrate or than it would in Oklahoma. It's like, no, I don't buy that for a second.
I've read that many times, Sean, that it's much harder for that because that's considered deep South, and we're not considered deep South.
Yeah, but I'm not trying to rip Oklahoma as a state completely, although I have some certain issues here and there. But like, I'm not gonna sit here. But like, let's not pretend it's like that much easier in Oklahoma to do it. That's all I'm saying.
Oh gosh, no, because we got our own issues.
Because that was the 50s. He did it.
right, and and as you said, and Gavin, you back it up too. Boren and especially with Eric Stryker and Josie, they all did the right thing. They put decent human being above, like being a decent human being above the program. That speaks volumes on.
And they also cared about they also really cared about their football program and knew if they didn't do that, they would lose everybody, and it would be it would be a black mark on this program for like decades to come if they didn't do that.
Forever, but as you said, taking that back to Texas though. They have problems.
No, look, I'm not saying it's all a racist thing. That's like, I think that's a systemic part of it historically, but at the same time,
it's like a big culture problem is what it is.
There is a culture problem. There is no excuse for Texas to be this bad. Like, so whenever I hear excuses I'm not telling you Texas needs to be like a natty contender every year, because it's hard for anyone to do that. But at the same time, it's like Texas should be a 10-win program minimum every year. Yeah. Like the only games Texas should struggle with are Oklahoma, and if they have a big non-conference game, whether they play Bama or whoever they play non-conference. So all I'm saying is that Texas with the talent, like they still get all this talent every year, and they don't deserve it based on their recent success, their recent record. They just don't. Yeah. They don't deserve it. But like in college football, if you have a national sales rack and you're in every sports gooding store because you have a really cool logo, like your brand is better than what you actually put out on the field. Like kids are raised to your goal is to wear the helmet. Not succeed in the helmet, wear the helmet. I've made it. I'm a Texas Longhorn. Now what? We're gonna go 7-5.
Now what? I don't know. I didn't think I'd make it.
We're gonna blow the biggest. We're gonna blow the biggest lead in the history of the OU Texas rivalry. We're gonna choke that away.
This is the most embarrassing thing to happen with Sark.
Okay,
most embarrassing to happen yet.
So,
Tyler, to answer your question too, I don't think Billy Bowman played Saturday.
Billy Bowman hasn't played in a minute.
No.
Justin Broyles is playing nickel.
Gotcha.
Like, here's the thing about Billy Bowman. Grinch has alluded to certain players who are not trying hard in practice. If you put two and two together, like Billy Bowman is allegedly healthy, and everyone's like, "Why isn't Billy Bowman playing?" It's like Grinch has mentioned certain players not trying hard in practice this year. I don't know. Like if it's an injury, like they would say, guys, like, Andrew Rame is hurt. I don't know. He might be out, like, depending on his severity, he might be out for the year. Who knows? But Conjul is serviceable at center. And then you have DJ Cram has a groin himself now, so who knows how.
Wasn't there any news about Ram by any chance?
I mean, I don't know. Like they didn't say what it is, but he had his knee wrapped up. He was standing. He was standing on the sideline. He wasn't like carted off or anything, but he had his now. Mark Andrews had his knee wrapped like once before. Like remember the Ohio State game where he got knocked out and he got his knee iced down. He was fine like the next week. So, but who knows? Like Billy Bowman is at the moment not playing. I'm sure at some point we'll hear some stuff, but there's a lot of talk that there's going to be potentially some turnover assistant coach wise. So,
who are you thinking?
Anyone
you want to say publicly? I'll put it that way.
I don't have a name though. It's just like there's thoughts about it.
I'm assuming. I mean, I'll say
it kind of depends. No, not Beanbo. I don't even think like people want a new strength and conditioning coach. People want this. People want that. I just think it depends on the. People say it doesn't matter how the season ends. I think it kind of does matter how the season ends. Because here's the thing. All the like we're a 10-1 football team, and like we're still like as a fan base, we're still bitching as like we're bitching like we're 8-4 or 7-5. But we're 10-1 regardless of all the turmoil. And the thing is, recruiting is still just like the buzz and the trajectory and for recruiting is just getting better and better. Especially
I think it's kind of we're still kind of on that build up. I don't
like at this point we're getting MJJ.
Mm-hmm.
MJJ is like all but at this point we're getting like one of the top, defensive line players in the country again.
Yeah.
I think if anything, it's like I don't want to say we're on exactly that. I'm not saying we're exactly on the same path, but I feel like with the whole issue with like with the recruiting and everything, like with Clemson, I just feel like each year it's been more and more up. Ever since 2015. Now I know we've lost a couple of semis and all that and everything. Granted, but it's like it's like it keeps building up and up for the most part. Like the trajectory just continues to go up.
Well, there's a lot of smoke about LT Overton right now. The big time top 5 player in the country, D lineman, like monster. Like we're all excited about Gabe Dindy. He's a 2023 guy. There's a lot of smoke. It's still kind of like, it's not coming from like certain sources, but it's coming from recruiting people that there is a possibility that LT Overton is going to reclassify as a 2022 recruit. That meaning he would be a July. So he's a 2023 guy, right? Projected but allegedly he might be going down to IMG, finishing school there, basically going to football high school because that's what IMG is. It's football high school, and he will be a July enrollee for 2022 and be classified as a 2022 recruit. Why is that? Why does that matter? Because no, he hasn't committed anywhere yet, but everything as of right now is indicating he would, if he had to pick, he's picking OU. So we would potentially get one of the top defensive linemen for 2023 for this class potentially, and we wouldn't have to deal with fighting off other schools for an entire other year.
Do you think it's because he thinks he has the best chance with starting, like in 2022 here?
I don't know about starting. Like you can't predict starting and who. Like first of all, Grinch rotates freaking everybody. So if you worry about you worry about starting, it's like, look, you're gonna play because look how much I rotate. So while you may hate it and I hate it to an extent, look at all the guys who are playing. And if you keep stacking, but if you keep stacking like elite defensive linemen, regardless of their year, it may not. It's not going to start to not matter. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. If say you had this year's guys, you had Perion, you had Nick, and Isaiah, and Redmond, and then all of a sudden you have Gabe Dindy, LT Overton, MJJ, and so forth. You rotate those guys in, and it's like. That's potentially an amazing. we're starting to build SEC level elite depth on the front, on the defensive front. Like that's like insane. Like when it comes to the line of scrimmage, like it's off. Like, and we're still in the running for big time offensive linemen like Devin Campbell and Cam Dewberry. People think Cam Dewberry. Some people are leaning towards A&M for Cam Dewberry, but you know I still think OU is in the hunt regardless. But Devin Campbell, you know I think we talked about it last week with the Kansas loss. It's like those two guys. So we're in serious legit contention for 5 stars on the O line and 5 stars on the D line.
How nasty is that going to be by the time we get to
Oh, that is going to be ugly and brutal.
So we're stocking the cupboard for SEC play now, potentially. We still got to do it. We still got to win those battles, but like signing day is like creeping up. Early signing period is it's the 15th. So
I know we're less than a month away. That's the crazy part.
It's crazy.
I have that on my calendar for us as a topic, but goodness.
So we got
this year, and maybe it's just me. It's the attending all the games. This year has gone fast.
Yeah, well, that's what happens with football season here. So you got that. You're potentially going to have a lot of those guys like Devin Campbell, Cam Dewberry are probably not going to be early, signing day commits because you still have because they're playing the All-American games again. So you have the All-American game, you have the Under Armour game. So you'll have guys make announcements there, and they'll be like July enrollments probably. Some of them might be early enrollees potentially still, but it's like close to the cutoff date, so I don't think that would happen. Yeah. But oh god, Bray Walker, yeah. Bray Walker with his 2 lead feet. Yeah. But yeah, just like we already have a really solid O-line class right now, and the guys we got last year too. So like, just the problem is that we just have an inexperienced O-line, and we just don't have any really big elite guys at tackle at the moment. Like all due respect, Tyrese Robinson is our starting left tackle, or right tackle, I should say.
Yeah,
he ain't a tackle. He's a guard playing tackle. But to be fair, they were playing run blocking. They were really playing really well on Saturday. So
yeah,
like pass blocking, not so much at the moment.
No,
we won't. Yeah, and it just feels like this is just like you guys said, it's a really young squad. I mean, like all of them are what, freshmen, sophomores? Is that right? Or is there a few juniors in there?
No, we have some like Murray is was like a transfer. He's an upperclassman and stuff. And then you have Tyrese has been here for a minute. I think I don't know what Conjal is off the top of my head. Rame's like a red shirt freshman.
I want to say Conjul's a freshman too.
I mean, if you we're like the guys we have like guys that are coming next year. Like I don't know, they would be true freshmen potentially. I don't know if they would be good enough to play them. Like I know we have like Demetrius Hunter, who's recruiting to be, I believe he's recruited to be a center.
Oh wow, Conjal! I just found he's a grad transfer.
Yeah, I mean that's what I thought. So, I mean, I'm looking at guys from this year that we have committed. Like Jacob Sexton is an Edmond kid who we got. Jake Taylor from Las Vegas, he's highly touted. And we're still waiting. Again, Devin Campbell and Dewberry are guys, and also there's the kid at Washington State. Let's see here. I know we had some guys for 21 as well that I'm like forgetting off. Like I know Savion Byrd is a guy who they're building up. He's not ready yet, but he has a chance to be really good. Like I think Savion Byrd is strong as an ox, but I think he's definitely got a chance to start next year if he can develop. Offensive line and Colin Montgomery.
While you mentioned that, Sean, I did want to get this in since we're talking about recruits and we'll probably be talking about Bedlam and stuff. If people want to hop in, I am going to put the link to hop in. You got to have a headset if you want to for it, so we don't hear the background noise. But feel free to. Someone's
gonna yell at me because how dare you talk about Texas boosters being racist?
And I will kick them because we know it. Regardless. So
you don't know who those billionaires are? Yes, I
do. Oh,
I wonder where that cha-ching came from. Regardless, but anyway.
Yeah.
But we have recruits, though. I mean, it's such a stacked class. It's what we need. I feel like we're finally back to where it's not rebuilding; it's reloading at this point.
Well, I mean, 22 has a chance to be like an amazing class without a quarterback as the centerpiece, which is real. Like we're currently a top 10 class now. And if we can, some of the guys we could get, like we have Reliques are one, like, well, let me rephrase that. Relique is a 5-star. Dindy's a 5-star. And then you have a chance to add Devin Campbell, Cam Dewberry. Marvin Jones Jr. is a guy that could potentially, like, there's still like one more recruiting ratings boost that guys will get that they'll adjust. But we have a chance to get about 4 or 5 different 5-stars for 2022, and none of them will be quarterbacks.
That's insane to think about too. That would be our biggest 5-stars, wouldn't it?
I mean, I don't think we will get all of them per se. Like, see, I'm like Cam Dewberry is kind of like a wait and see still, but I still think OU has a legit chance with him. But Devin Campbell, Texas is scared because he was supposed to be a slam dunk Texas commit. They worried about us, man. They are worried. And I'll tell you what, if
I mean, with Texas being down, this, you've mentioned it before, Sean and Gavin, is like, yeah, there's not a whole lot of things that will change a recruit. Texas being down would change a recruit's mind.
Well, losing a game, like people always lose. Some people lose their mind if like you'll lose a game. Oh, the recruits we're going after aren't going to want to play here. Everybody's a good, like, those guys lose football games in high school too. It happens. Now, if you lose 6 in a row and your program is on fire and you can see it, and you can see the flames from orbit, that's a problem.
Right.
So I wish I could tell Texas fans everything's to be okay. But another thing no one's talking, well, people are going to talk about it, but we haven't talked about yet, we're talking about just recruiting. With all the firings and the new coaches, the transfer portal is going to be busy this offseason. Oh my God, the transfer portal.
With the transfer portal too?
They well, I don't know, but they better change the rules quick, because now that you can transfer anywhere, be eligible immediately. Oh, there could be a lot of rats jumping ships across the country. Look at all the, like, Florida, Texas,
LSU.
TCU, Zach Evans probably might decide to leave.
Yeah, that's true, because he wanted to keep with Peterson, or Patterson, and
TCU just lost 2 commitments today. They lost 2 commitments today alone. So, but that's recruiting, mind you. But like I was thinking to myself, man, it's like there's like the off season's getting here soon. I'm not gonna have a lot. I'm like, what am I talking about? The transfer portal news is going to be insane. Because
and how many of those though can OU take though?
That's another thing. You can, the rule you're talking about with the transfer portal. They're allowing you to replace up to 7 players that you might lose from transfer portal, and so you can either get guys transferred in elsewhere, or you could add it to your recruiting class. So that's like 25 plus 7.
That changes a whole lot. I mean,
yeah,
they can choose on your.
Well, it depends. Well, you don't just get 7. It's like if you lose 3 plus 3, you know what I mean? If you 4 plus 4, if like, because we had guys transfer out last year. We lost TJ Pledger and guys like that last year.
Right. You get to basically substitute. You don't get to add it.
Right. So they gave you can have up to 7. If you lose up to 7 guys, if you lose more than 7, your program's in a lot bigger trouble than you thought. So. But yeah, overall, I'm looking forward to recruiting is going to go on until February. Then you have transfers, and then before you know it, spring football will be here. I keep thinking, man, what am I going to talk about? It's like, oh yeah, then softball will be going strong by then.
Yeah, gymnastics is going to be in January. We're going to be reaching that again. I mean. Maybe OU baseball will be halfway decent.
COVID stole us a national championship in women's gymnastics, man. Totally.
Yeah, they did.
Stole us a natty.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Like, goodness. Like, there is stuff to talk about. I mean, football takes up a majority of our time, but basketball, gymnastics,
it's the most important. I mean, OU basketball lost the Myrtle Beach game today or whatever. The quote unquote they lost to Utah State.
Oh, wasn't it because that's a game that they shouldn't have lost, but they kept going for threes?
I didn't watch the game because like the NFL was like my sole focus because I had to watch the Cowboys and Chiefs.
I was busy putting Christmas stuff up around our house, so I was kind of helping.
See,
with all
college
that.
basketball is fun, but not until conference play.
Yeah,
It's just the truth.
It's fun to. I will say this from working them. They're fun to work to get experience with it because you learn that the camera work with like football and stuff is completely different in like gymnastics, different in basketball and things like that. But it's this is the game like the Western Carolina. You bring your family to it. Everybody enjoys it, but the real fun stuff, like big Monday and stuff, that's all. You're right, 100%, Sean. Yeah,
we got 2 potential games that could be pay-per-view next year, but we just don't know which one it could be
for football.
Football next year, because we're at this point we're likely playing in the Big 12. So who would you have to bet? UTEP or Kent State? What's the pay-per-view game next year?
Kent State.
You see,
it's Kent State. I mean, UTEP.
You're probably right, but if you have to do pay-per-view, just get it out of the way week 1.
Well, here's the flip side to that. I have another side to that. I would say week 2, because if UTEP is not a home game, there's a lot of criticism always around having the first home game of the season on pay-per-view.
Well, yeah, but if you we played Chattanooga like in our 2008 year, and they were garbage FCS game, and it was like whatever.
But people still would rather have it on TV, at least for the first one. That's an internal thing. I can tell you that at least there's a lot of phone calls that come from that.
See, what's interesting for 23, if we finally move to the SEC, we will have to fill a spot in our non-conference because Georgia is supposed to come to Norman.
What you're telling me that we don't want to play Georgia in the non-conference part, just like what's their face did?
Wake and North Carolina did.
Yeah,
that was weird that they did that, but whatever, they did it, and props to them. It is what it is, and it cost them. I mean, they got their asses whooped by Clemson anyway, so
right.
They got killed. I was like, hey, I actually want Clemson to win a game. That's nice. Good for them
to win. I picked Clemson to win. I'm like,
they're,
after the way
Clemson can still win the ACC.
The irony behind it, yeah, they could.
There'll be a 3-loss ACC champ.
Yeah,
and they'll get into your 6 game.
The entire irony is in a down year, they're still going to go. That's kind of us. Like we were in down years, and we can
see. That's the other thing. We pretty much clinched. At this point, we have clinched a New Year's 6 game for the most part.
But where will we go? Is the question.
We I don't know, Fiesta.
Ooh, who will we play in Fiesta?
Maybe Notre Dame.
If we don't win,
maybe Alabama in the Sugar.
Yeah. I take Bama in the Sugar easily.
We could play like if we don't make the playoff and we lose. Let's say we either lose this week or next week. They put us in the Sugar for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Unless State would jump.
Now there some Baylor people might scream, but it's like they might.
OU
I tell you what,
OU travels better.
I'll tell you what, the Sugar Bowl would listen, we don't want to play. Don't put Baylor and Bama. Please don't. Give us OU and Bama, please. Please give us OU and Bama, please. Mm-hmm. Those Sugar Bowl people look, I know what the rankings kind of say, but we really like Oklahoma and Alabama.
Well, here's the other question, and I'm just going to put this out here. If Georgia does lose here this week or next week,
they ain't losing this week.
Well,
Notre Dame murdered, death killed Georgia Tech. Georgia ain't losing to Georgia Tech.
Well, granted that aside, if they go ahead and put that, but would you put if Bama beats Georgia in the title game, I should have.
You have Georgia and Bama
in the playoff.
In the playoff. Yep, that's kind of what
they were going insane in local radio of they would never put Bama still there. Yeah, they would. Absolutely, they would.
Well, no. If Bama won the SEC,
come up with scenarios with Cincinnati.
If Bama wins the SEC championship, of course they should go in the playoff. Like,
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying that, but same thing with Georgia though. Even though they won the title, so
yeah, but it will be their first loss, and no one like as much as I'm against like losing conference championship and getting in the playoff. Like, I can't tell you with a straight face they shouldn't get in.
Mm-hmm.
I would okay, you get in. Georgia has been the most dominant team all season. They dropped the SC. Like, it would be with a four. If it was the BCS, that's one thing. But in a 4-team playoff, of course you put Georgia in. Now, who do you put in the other two spots? It's like, well, Ohio State will probably get in, winning the Big Ten. Then you're fighting for one spot over Notre Dame, Cincinnati, and the potential Big 12 champion.
And you would.
And if you're Cincinnati, you're rooting for a bedlam split. Same thing with Notre Dame, and Notre Dame is rooting for Houston to beat Cincinnati.
Yeah.
And then you'll have the real crying start. Because could you imagine if Cincinnati lost to Houston in like a close game in the AAC championship, and then they drop a bunch of spots, and then Notre Dame, also one loss, sits at home, not even playing a conference title game, just slowly creeps up into that 4 spot just to get hammered by Georgia or Alabama. Oh, look, it's a rerun of last year's playoff game. Bama crushes Notre Dame.
The second verse, same as the first.
Actually, to be fair, I think Notre Dame would give Bama a better game than last year, to be honest.
Yeah, because
I'll give the Irish credit. Notre Dame looked like ass, like most teams not named Georgia earlier in the year. Notre Dame is starting to get their crap together a little bit. They look like now the problem for Notre Dame is that their schedule is kind of ass. Like, if you just looked at it, if you didn't know how this season turned out, you just looked at the names. Oh, they beat Florida State and Wisconsin and Virginia Tech and North Carolina and Stanford. That's the last game they have, and oh my God, look at that. But now you look at that schedule they played Florida State and Virginia Tech and North Carolina and Stanford.
And the best win from that would be North Carolina.
No, it's Wisconsin.
No,
they played Wisconsin. They played Wisconsin and Chicago.
Yeah.
And it was a really close game up until the fourth quarter when the floodgates opened and Notre Dame just blew them out of the water.
Gotcha. I was thinking for some reason it was they didn't play Wisconsin.
Oh no, that was a big game. Turns out it's a much bigger that's the one win that's kind of see, that's the problem for OU, and what people don't realize. Why is Oklahoma being held so down so low? It's well, have you looked at what's our best win, guys? It's K-State.
And K-State, thanks K-State, you didn't help us at all Saturday. Thanks, guys.
I mean, but that's the problem. It's we're 10-1, and our schedule is that weak this year.
Yeah.
We're
struggling in it. That's kind of the
and so when people are saying, "Oh, why is Oklahoma so low?" and this and that, I've made my thoughts on that too when they were undefeated, but now they have a loss. It's well, I don't have much of a leg to stand on because the one team that was ranked high they lost. But if they beat Oklahoma State twice and they're the Big 12 champs, it's going to be hard to keep them out.
Well, and that's the flip side too. So OU would get in if we went out with it, but let's just say Oklahoma State beat us in the Big 12 championship. Cincinnati should be scared too on that one because they're like, oh, you
put the Pokes in.
You put the Oklahoma State in.
Well, I mean, okay, now
No,
wait. We're assuming now they wouldn't. Now that would only happen if that would only. God damn it! Sorry, they would only happen if they only had one loss. That's what I was trying to say.
Not two.
Yeah, because no, they would never put a 2-loss team in the college football playoff.
Not for the Big 12. No.
They put Alabama in this year as a 2-loss because they
won't.
They've already had their loss.
They're never going to do that. People are trying to speak that shit into existence. It is never happening. A 2-loss.
No, it is not. Gonna happen,
well, the only way a 2-loss Bama has even a prayer of that happening, they would have to lose to Auburn and beat Georgia. But people are.
Throw something at you then.
But this is what people are saying. That's not what they're saying, though. They're saying, what if Alabama loses a close game to Georgia? It's no.
Yeah, that's what they're saying, yeah.
And my response is, no, screw you.
No. I don't see it. I mean,
what if they're the only team that gives Georgia a game this year? I don't care. They lost.
Yeah, and besides, A&M's, that lost A&M ain't going to really help you either.
I mean, to be fair, according to the committee, games on the field don't matter anymore. So
Yeah,
Oh,
and
how
it's
did
like
side
Well, that
note?
mission-
I'm
Yeah.
just sort of like even sometimes wondering what goes on with that committee sometimes with like what they see on the field though too. It's
I
like
want to know
Well-
what they're smoking, and I want some of it.
well, it's not like that Michigan State thing matters anymore at this point.
yeah, especially with that Michigan State secondary getting trashed up and everything. Yeah, and and I'm gonna say this: I'm already giving my edge to Ohio State. I just can't see Michigan.
Oh, absolutely. I would take Ohio State. For me, at this point, it's like OU over Oklahoma State. You could give me any scenario. I take Ohio State over
For those who
Michigan.
don't know,
Michigan, actually.
for those who know, we have Fowler and Herb Street on Saturday, just in case
Oh,
people
cool.
don't know.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, and the thing is that I think you got Fox
And-
Noon and ESPN College Game Day both.
Andy's
good.
gone.
I'm
Oh,
here.
no, you were in another dimension. You were not here.
Was I in the
Oh.
ether?
No, not you, Gavin.
No, he was talking to me. He was talking about me. So what I was saying is that both ESPN and Fox Noon are both going to be for covering their game, for College Game Day, big Fox Noon kickoff. So both of them are going to be there for that game.
No, they're in the big house. Fox is at the big house.
Oh, that's what what am I saying?
Yeah,
That's what I meant.
they ain't going to Stillwater.
No, not still. I didn't mean Stillwater. I mean like over at Michigan. Yeah, so that's what I meant. So like they're both covering like all that game going on there. So
I'll tell you what. I would love for Michigan to win that game just to see something different for once, but I know it's not going to happen.
I just
Yeah.
I just don't see it in the card, especially with all those skill players that they have. That's the thing. With all that skill talent that you have right there, there's just no way to stop it unless you're basically that Georgia defense.
Yeah. I mean, when you think about it too, with it, which I just can't think of any position that Michigan excels at over Ohio State.
Well, they had a really good receiver at the beginning of the year in Ronnie Bell, but he tore his ACL. He tore his ACL. He was out for the year. So, I mean, that was their best deep threat passing the football. So,
Have they been a deep threat at all since then?
I mean,
No.
not really. They don't really have they have okay players. They can get short little cross patterns over the middle and stuff like that. But they don't have a CeeDee Lamb type player that or else you would know who he is. We know who the Ohio State wide receivers are. You can't name a Michigan wide receiver. There's a reason.
Mm-hmm.
We know who Garrett Wilson and Olave, and there's another guy with a really weird last name that's off the top of my head I can't think of. But I mean, you know who the Ohio State skill guys are. Travion Henderson. God.
Don't forget Olaf.
Olave. I'll tell you this, for whatever reason, if OU makes it, say what you want, I would rather play Georgia.
To get it out of the way, or it's the best match?
No. I would rather play Georgia. I would rather get into a defensive slugfest because, as crazy as this sounds, I think OU has a better chance to win that than getting in a shootout with Ohio State.
Funny
Oh,
enough, that's how
definitely.
I feel next week with, or I guess this week against Oklahoma State, is when you look at both sides of it. I said it's going to come down to raw talent.
We are not
OU
built to
versus-
go score for score if that happens with
Ohio
CJ
State,
Stroud
no.
just dumping it off to because you got to cover Henderson out of the backfield, Olave and Garrett Wilson and all those guys. It's now defensively though, I think Ohio State you can score on them, but I would not want to get into a back and forth who's going to blink first and not score a touchdown. Who's going to screw up, because I think we would be that team, unfortunately, the way we're playing right now. But defensively, I don't know. I'm not saying we're going to put a bunch of points up on Georgia potentially, but I would feel better about getting into a 16-10 game potentially with Georgia if we could turn it into a game like that. I'm not saying we're winning either. I'm just saying
Right.
I would
We'll make it a game.
if I had to pick my poison, give me a Florida State 2001 Orange Bowl type of game as opposed to a shootout.
how do you feel then with the defense versus? Do you think this is going to be the true test for Oklahoma this Saturday
Defensive?
against Oklahoma State and their defense?
Well, well, I thought you meant like their offense. Like their offense doesn't scare me.
I'm talking their defense.
No, I was gonna say they're all like we've played the scariest offense like for the rest of the year, in my opinion, on our schedule just this past Saturday, and we did a damn good job, in my opinion.
Yeah, we contained them. We made Brock Purdy run for his life the entire game.
Yeah, and basically paid the price for
it. Okay, so who is the best team Oklahoma State has played all year? Like Baylor?
Yeah, Baylor's the only one.
So who had the best skill talent? Iowa State, right? And Iowa State beat them.
Yeah, and I will say this though too, and I got a coworker of mine though too. They said that Oklahoma State, yeah, they lost that game, but that fourth down play call that we talked about earlier in the previous broadcast, too, the spot was not really the best spot where. According to all the video replay and everything.
So they lost 24. They lost 24-21 to Iowa State. A similar type of scoring game that we had with the Cyclones themselves, but we won, right?
Yes.
Man, that's what I think. That's what I think Saturday is going to be.
A defensive slugfest.
Yeah,
I mean, defensive for the Big 12 because in normal football you score 20 points or more. That's a high-scoring game, but the Big 12 has changed those rules over the years.
But last year, though, if you remember, like the first 3 quarters was a defensive slugfest until the fourth quarter. OU decided to open the floodgates last year.
No, last year we beat them down early.
Who? Oklahoma State.
Last year we put up.
Yeah, we whipped Oklahoma.
That game was over quick.
Yeah, that was 13-41. Gundy played really, really conservative.
We were up. We were up 27-13 at half.
Yeah,
it was 21-7 after 1 last year.
Yeah, we whipped their butt. There was the moment it was kickoff.
Ronnie Perkins just wrecked their world last year, and I miss him.
I think for me this year with it would be, I have to give Oklahoma State credit. They're consistent. That's the thing that worries me.
They consistently lose to Oklahoma. That's true. I give them credit for that.
I do too. I'm referring to more of like. They do the things that we're expected to do. Like they took care of business with Kansas. They took care of business with TCU. Like we both had the same struggle against West Virginia. The win that is weird. They struggled against Texas Tech. I don't know what that anomaly is, but I also don't understand the whoop ass they did for TCU though. That's kind of I don't understand that one. I don't know what the game plan was that for them.
But I hope to get win number 91 and 92 against them. So
would they count number 92?
Yeah.
I mean, Texas didn't count it as a rivalry game, and they kept the hat for a year.
No. Well, no. That's different. That's the hat. It still counts on like the overall series record. We still played in a game.
Do you know what would happen?
They had stolen property, as far as I'm concerned. I consider that possession's 9/10 of the law, but that 1/10, we legally won that hat as far as I was concerned back then.
Speaking of which, by the way, I do hope we beat them this weekend because
as do I. So
if you didn't notice, by the way, it'd be the perfect cap to this weekend because if OU beats OSU, they go to the Big 12 title game, and they surpass Texas in all-time wins.
Oh yeah, they are like. Oh, that's right. They keep losing.
They're tied. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't think about that because we're like right there with like them and like Notre Dame and a few other schools for really stepping up and like the like Michigan's up there. Like I completely forgot about that. That is right. Like people like it's just I've been so, but yeah, someone has brought that up before. Winsipedia. Let me look up Winsipedia.
So Wikipedia says that we've already surpassed them at 926 and Texas at 924, but I saw a stat of 927 and that they're tied.
If it'll wins all time, let's take a look. If it'll load.
Well, that was I was going to say what you saw on Wiki though. That was like back in September 6th of 2020, 21.
Oh yeah, updated as of 2021. Yeah.
Wins at Pedia, we are tied with them at the moment.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah. So yeah, if we win this weekend, we surpass Texas, we beat Oklahoma State, and we punch our ticket to the Big 12. It'd be the perfect
Well, if
combination.
Texas wins, then we'll still be tied with them. But then if we play the Big 12 championship, then we'll surpass them.
That's true. But I don't expect Texas to win this weekend.
So Texas and OU at 927. Notre Dame's at 928. So we could tie Notre Dame because they'll be sitting at home on conference championship.
Yeah.
So yeah, Michigan's at 974. Ohio State's 941. Bama's 939. And then it drops down to 928 Notre Dame. OU and Texas at 927. Penn State at 909. Nebraska 908. Man, Penn State surpassed Nebraska.
That's sad.
SC's at 856, but I think SC's at 856, but I think they had some wins taken away for the Reggie Bush shit. So
yeah, they did.
But
yeah,
man, surpassing like but the only one I care about is that if we can surpass Texas in the all-time record in all-time head-to-head.
Yeah, and we're getting close.
We might be able to do it in my lifetime. Maybe. I am getting old. I am trending towards out of my 30s. What is so we are 12 wins behind. We got our 50th win this year in the most epic way possible. I mean, the way Texas is right now, we might be able to do this before I die. That'd be pretty cool.
I think so.
I like to win a natty or two before I go as well at some point. But
I think we might in the next couple years though. But I'm just gonna don't.
Well, we're gonna walk into the SEC and win it year one.
Of course. I mean, we have to establish our dominance.
I mean, I'm gonna be the biggest troll when we start year one. I'm just gonna be. People are gonna think I'm crazy. I'm just like. I'm gonna come up with so many like clips of just like kicking down doors and.
Oh,
you're gonna be that fan that everybody goes and be like, it's this guy, except you won't be wrong.
I gotta find the right. When you watch some action movies and the bad guy kicks down the door and he has all of his minions go around. He's like, search the area, find them. What are you doing here? This is a private residence. Just like fix my suit. Just keep walking in.
Sean, just have it with something from Star Wars.
Like Hans Gruber from Die Hard.
That works too. I was thinking Anakin Skywalker. Master Skywalker, what are we gonna do?
Nah, he's a douche. You gotta be cool like Hans Gruber. You gotta be cool like Hans Gruber, man. Hans Gruber.
You could do exactly then Darth Vader then from Rogue One. I know you don't like Rogue One, but that seems awesome.
Can I not do Star Wars? I hate most Star Wars.
Fine.
Most Star Wars is trash nowadays, except for Mandalorian. Mandalorian's great.
Mando's good. Yeah. Wait till Book of Boba Fett.
But Mandalorian's great because there's less Jedi in it. I mean, there has
wizards.
I mean, there has to be by some law. We have to have Jedis at some point. We can't just have a nice Star Wars story without the Jedis because heaven forbid we don't. But
because we know the entire Star Wars things is around the Skywalker family drama.
Yeah. It's like
that said. Now, here's my question for y'all for this: is there anything Oklahoma State has this weekend that does think is going to be a challenge for the guys? In all seriousness,
Caleb Williams has not dealt with the paddle people. I'm serious when I say that too.
Yeah, they're loud.
That's a psychotic environment. They're going to throw chicken bones and they're going to throw shit on the field if things don't go their way.
This week.
Yeah,
and they're favored. They're favored by 4. Like as of right now, they're favored by 4. So,
I think if anything though, too, like I think if anything, and this is something that this needs to be worked on, in practice, going through the passing progressions, because right now he's been like very much been focused and targeting at one side, and that's been about it. That's been my biggest deal. I know he's a freshman, but that's been, my biggest issue. If anything, it's just the progression,
Well, it's like I mentioned before, like Riley needs to give him some checkdowns. And
and I would love to see, and you guys know what I'm talking about, but like those little crazy like little wide receiver crossing screens that he's usually done in the past.
Well, they've tried to do some trickeration before, but they just keep on getting
Well,
they keep fumbling the ball and jacking up. So well, they tried the Baylor game, and wasn't there one in the Iowa State game that got jacked up? They tried that didn't work. So it's not like they're not trying that stuff. It's just the fact that it's not being executed. So the play calling is part of it, but at the same time, guys are not executing.
That's what goes with the defense too. Is like the scheme's fine. If the guys can't tackle, that's another.
Look, we're at the time of year where Perrin Winfrey is allowed to play hard. I guess in November, December. This is when he allows himself to play football at a high level. So maybe that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Like finally awoken.
Well, Perrin's like that. Like this is like a weird reference that maybe you'll understand. You haven't gotten to this part in One Piece yet, but there's a part in One Piece during the Dressrosa arc where there's like a bunch of like there's like a tournament. There's like a little mini tournament within that.
There's
arc.
always a tournament.
Okay, but it's like it's not the whole arc. It's just like on the side that happens. So there's this king from a country who kind of looks like King Hippo, but like more bulky, not fat. He's more bulky, not fat, like King Hippo from Punch Out. He has this amazing punch that takes like 3 days to charge, right? He has to keep
we're going old school Dragon Ball Z now.
No. So he's literally like warming up shadowboxing. And so he literally has to charge it for like multiple days or so. But when he actually charges it up and he throws his punch, it's like the most powerful punch in the world. But it just takes forever for him. Perrin Winfrey is like that character for One Piece.
So what you're saying is Perrin Winfrey is the Juggernaut. It takes him a little bit to get charged up, but once he gets charged up, you better get out of the way.
I guess I should have made the X-Men reference, but you understand what I'm talking about.
I do understand.
So Perrin Winfrey
part is I understood 100%.
I understood that reference. Yes, Captain America, you understood the reference.
I understood.
But
I mean, when you look at the screenshot, he does look like the Juggernaut when he's hitting Brock.
He
Purdy.
murdered a man on Saturday, and not only did he not get arrested and taken off the field in handcuffs, but like there was no flag thrown, so he was allowed to murder someone.
He got applauded too. Dad said that the crowd went insane with that hit. I'm like, that they've been wanting that for a while. Perrin Winfrey took his anger out on.
He literally murdered a man.
Oh yeah.
Like he actually lived up to his damn Jason and like Michael Myers like thigh pads that he wears.
Yeah.
Actually lived up to that for once.
I'll be honest. When I saw that live, it was like, oh, what a huge hit. I was like, oh, wait, hold
Please no targeting, 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 please no targeting. Thank God.
Yeah,
Josh
exactly.
was
That's
doing
how
his
I
best
felt.
trying to speak that into existence too.
And so was Campbell as well. In fact, I think he was even trying to see if he could challenge that targeting call.
Yeah, they're like, you can't review it, man. Like there's nothing to challenge on this.
That has to be upstairs. That is not a challenge by the coach.
Yeah, and even then they said there's nothing to challenge. He hit him with the shoulder. He moved. Literally, you saw him move. It was a good football play. Brock Purdy got his head rocked. That's just what happens.
Yeah, and basically breaking the cardinal rule of turning back on the grain, when you have a blind side that you don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like running into a Mack truck, if anything.
Is there any other games besides Ohio State, Michigan, OU, and OSU? Is there other games this week to look forward to?
We did talk a little bit about, let's see, Alabama, Auburn. That was going on.
I mean, for curiosity's sake.
Missouri and Arkansas, that is going to be also be playing as well. The only reason I know that is because the affiliate that I work with and everything is going to be covering that game, which is on CBS.
Missouri beat Florida, but so did a lot of other teams.
Yeah, so
okay, so my football watching plans is I'll be watching the Cowboys on Thursday playing the Raiders. No, the Raiders.
Let's see. You got the Egg Bowl this week.
Yes, the Egg Bowl. I'm rooting for Mississippi State to pull that one off. So Mike Leach, I'm rooting for you to pull that one off. I'll be watching.
You're not going to root for the traditional Old Piss. I'm so disappointed.
No,
I know.
K-State and Texas, just to see if they what happens. This is on Friday, by the way. And then there's Cincinnati, East Carolina, just out of morbid curiosity.
Yeah.
And then there's really
the platypus game.
I don't know what that is.
I call it platypus game because it's between the Ducks and the Beavers and Oregons, and basically, if you combine them, it's basically a platypus. That's what I call it. So
I didn't even know that was the game.
They call it the Civil War.
Yeah, they call it the Civil War. I just call it the platypus bowl because it's basically like a duck and a beaver combined, and that's what it is as a platypus. So that's kind of why I call it the platypus.
Right. And then so Saturday the slate is very simple, and everyone's going to be watching Ohio State, Michigan, as they should.
Yeah.
And then moving
USC
on,
has BYU.
Who? What?
BYU and USC play against each other.
Who cares?
Yeah,
they're dead programs. They're all.
They're not going anywhere. BYU ain't going to the playoff. It's not going to be.
Yeah, Notre Dame has Stanford.
There is I guess I watched the Iron Bowl, but there's really not. There isn't another game that I would flip back and forth. What it could that affects anything. OU and Oklahoma State obviously on ABC. I guess I'll keep an eye on Notre Dame, Stanford. I don't like Stanford's not winning, but crazier shit has happened.
Speaking of that, I looked at the schedule. Here's a dumb question: if UTSA wins out, they're in a New Year's Six, aren't they? Because they'd be the highest.
No. They can't because if Cincinnati still is the higher team, then
you're right. You're right. Never mind. You're right.
You're trying to get the Roadrunners their hopes up. Look at you.
I tried.
I tried.
Yeah.
Notre Dame's a 17-point favorite on the road at Stanford, which is where Oregon lost on the road.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like
Come on, David. Come on, Shaw. Earn your paycheck at Stanford.
I feel like if anything, Stanford is always such a weird place to play. If anything else, you can even ask Oregon. Even back in. What was it, 2015 or so when Notre Dame went in there, had their national title hopes slashed, whenever they went down there.
Yeah.
It's a weird really bad. Place. Yeah. Well, I know they're bad, but it's something's going to be a surprise down there, if anything, that's what I'm saying. Any given day.
Yeah. I got one more question for y'all and we'll wrap up. Where do you think OU is going to end playoff?
Number 10.
Number 10.
I would probably, I was going to say probably 9 or 10. That's kind of where I'm at.
They're not going to move them past Baylor or Ole Miss at the moment.
Yeah,
it's the same reasons for last week. So they will move up 3 spots just because 3 teams above them lost and most of them got killed. So.
Well, and Ole Miss and Mississippi State won't be playing for conference, so they're stuck at this point.
Right, but basically, it's not going to matter because if OU beats Oklahoma State, they'll jump they'll make a huge jump in the rankings. They'll jump Baylor, Ole Miss, Oklahoma State will drop. Michigan's going to lose, so they'll be at worst 6 if they win on Saturday. So OU's going to jump all the way up to 6 if they win.
Right. They got to win out though.
Yeah, and then you need Georgia to beat Bama, moves you up to 5, and then will you jump either Cincinnati or Notre Dame with a Big 12 championship win? Because Notre Dame will be sitting at home, and Cincinnati will be a group of 5. So unless Cincinnati loses Houston, that'd be great.
I would be interested in seeing a Cincinnati Notre Dame matchup. I would be interested in seeing that.
I did. We did see it, and Cincinnati won.
Well, I'm just saying it's a good rematch, though. I would see that as a good rematch.
Not me. I don't like rematches. As best as I can.
Well,
just like this week, I would prefer not to play Oklahoma State double time, but
it would be so ironic, that they say, "Oh, nope, you know what? Here's for your New Year's Six bowl. Here's a team. You just beat them. Go ahead. This is what you get." That's. I would love to just see that.
We've rematched one time, if I recall. It was the Nebraska one, wasn't it, Sean? I'm trying to remember the year with it.
No. If you remember last year, I think it was Clemson and Notre Dame rematched each other. Again,
we rematched with Colorado in 2002. We rematched. Let me think here. 2007 with Missouri.
We always rematch with somebody in the Big 12 ever since the whole inception.
Oh yeah, well it's the Big 12 Wheel of Destiny. Who's gonna land on it this year?
Yeah,
the Big 12 title game is a guaranteed rematch.
But what I'm saying though is like as like a bowl slash like some sort of bowl game matchup. Like if I remember, like Notre Dame and Cincinnati, not Cincinnati, Notre Dame and Clemson played for like the ACC title game, and like they had like what 3 games that they played against each other last year.
No, they played twice.
No,
they played twice. They played twice.
You're probably thinking regular season.
No, they played twice. They played at Notre Dame, and then they played in the ACC title game.
And then they played.
No, Notre Dame played Alabama.
Oh, okay, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, because they avoided that with it, but for bowl games, the only one that even I can think of is
because Ohio State beat down Clemson.
Yeah, Ohio State annihilated Clemson.
Oh gosh,
who they annihilated Clemson. That was something. But for bowl games and stuff, I don't know. For that one outside, like I said, OU Nebraska, and that's in lore of Barry Switzer wanted that. So that's a lot. Nah, that's a lot. So yeah, that's something as a good little trivia question though. But that said though, guys, we're almost at the 2-hour mark, so let's wrap it up. So I want to thank again Sean and Gavin for joining me. Gavin, I hope you have fun this week in Oklahoma City. With the semifinal game, good luck to Collingville against Carl Albert. You're going to need every single piece of luck with that.
You for saying the name right, man. Come on, you got to represent the name a little bit better than that. So,
good luck. Good luck. That's all I'm gonna say. Good luck with it. No different than I'll be at the downtown watching MacArthur and McAllister. So they'll play at UCO if that's the case, and that's just to drive up the street. Sean, I want to thank you again. Everybody watching, Sean has his stuff too.
I ran off a viewer of yours. Sorry.
Oh, I'm so disappointed. I'm so sorry. But no, Sean has his stuff Tuesday nights with playoff rankings, and then he has the watch along. Are you having the watch along with Bedlam?
Of course.
I have to watch along. How was last week's watch along? Were people tame?
No, I hate my life. I never want to do it. Like I'm considering never doing it again after this season.
Because OU fans are toxic.
Well, no, just a live chat room on the internet is toxic. Doesn't have to be OU fan.
It's hard, man. Have you thought? Is it just because of the people there, or do you need someone like to manage, like who's in the chat?
Well, the whole point of doing it, like I wouldn't do a watch along unless I interacted with people. It would be defeat the purpose of doing it. So, but I don't know. I just
get Eric in there with you.
Eric does it sometimes. Like I'll try to get Eric for the playoffs if we're in the playoffs. But I hate.
That'll be fun. What do you use? Do you use R Labs?
No, I use XSplit.
XSplit. Okay. I was curious on what you use.
No, I use XSplit.
So regardless, though, guys, check out Sean's channel. He always tries to upload a video like every single day. With the content's always great. So, but yeah, this is a wrap, guys. Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm done. I'm out of here.
Okay. The wrap, guys. Thank you again for joining. And we'll see everybody here next week, guys. So Boomer Sooner, only one Oklahoma, and good luck, Oklahoma State. Rent is due. Rent is due. Y'all have a good one.
Peace.